That's awesome. Jake, let me know when we're good.
I mean it in all fun, pure fun. What's up,
Awesome.
guys?
What's up, everyone? I'm over here waiting, and Jake's like, we're live. That's awesome. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you all so much for being here. So today we're going to talk about, I know that the topic of the webinar is stop consuming, start connecting. 3 ways to turn how you consume Instagram and leverage Instagram into business. One of
Mhm.
the things that I always tell realtors is we know, like, how do I build my personal brand? How do I leverage technology? How do I leverage social to really grow my brand exponentially? How do I leverage all of this stuff that I'm investing time, sweat, and tears into? Like, we're creating content. I've been a blogger for the last decade. We invest so much time being creative and putting words on the screen to try to influence consumers, to try to build trust, to try to build your know, like, and trust factor with people, right?
Mhm.
Social is one of those other boxes that we need to check. Am I doing social? Am I engaging in social so that I have a presence? Um, am I doing email marketing? Am I in people's inbox trying to engage and initiate or spark conversations, to spark interest, to spark inquiry? I think all of these things we know we fundamentally need to do, but as a real estate professional, my gosh, you're wearing so many hats in your business. You're a marketer, you're a therapist, you're a business person, you're a CEO, you're all of these things. So when I think about what you need to do in your marketing, I feel like oftentimes we go through the motions. We're just checking a box to say that we did it. Like, hey,
Mm.
I created my post, or hey, I posted this thing, or hey, I created a reel. Why am I not getting results faster? And I think it can be a hamster wheel of overwhelm. And so that's what we're hoping to kind of unlock for you today. We're going to point you or show you some strategies, some effective strategies, some very pointed strategies to help you get more so that you feel like you're not in that hamster wheel that doesn't produce or net any results. Thank you all for being here. My name is Ricardo Bueno. I'm the head of events at Follow Boss. I've just been geeking out on this stuff for the last decade. Um, our special guest for today is fabulous coach, someone we had on our conversion summit in November. She came, she showed you, she dropped some knowledge bombs on how to leverage social to get more results. It was a really amazing session. Love for everyone to meet Michelle Berman Mickle. She specializes in working with real estate agents and mortgage professionals. She's coached over 4,500 agents across the country. Michelle, hi, how are you? Welcome.
Hi, I'm awesome. I miss my hair being that good.
That's
It was.
awesome.
I need to go get it redone, clearly.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get my screen share going and we'll just jump right in. For those of you guys who are here with Ricardo and I actually met Ricardo through a very good mutual friend of ours, Grant Wise, and it was really funny because I was just like constantly in Ricardo's DMs, like, hey, 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 until he finally was like, hey, and then we got to get to know each other, and it's been so fun. And Grant is an incredible human for connecting us, so, and I'm forever grateful for that, right? For the
Grant
hey,
is an
hey,
incredible human.
he really is. And he's been my coach for 3.5 years. So anybody that knows Grant knows that he's just it doesn't get better than that. But for those of you guys who are here in the chat box, would you let us know if you saw me in December on the Conversion Summit? Let me know in the chat. Just drop and say, yes, I was there. I would love to know, because the reason I say that is I got so many messages after that event with people that were so intrigued by our process. Because for me and Ricardo, I know you and I have talked about this offline many times, but the social space as a whole, I feel like gets kind of a bad rap, right? People think when you say, oh, I'm an Instagram person, or hey, I teach Instagram marketing, everybody's face deflates. They're like, meh, another one, right? And that's really unfortunate, because the industry that I'm in, right, and what I try to do with this is really change the temperature of how we look at social. And in December, I prefaced this, and that's why I'm excited to be back here with those of you guys who maybe saw both. Because what we do is we teach you how to community build, right? So, which Follow Boss is all about, right? Building a kick-ass community to where you can really influence and scale without having to do more or be in more places, right? And also without having to worry about having more followers or any of the things that people think. So we actually did an in-house webinar in December as well. And that was the word that kept coming up, is people kept saying like, oh my gosh, I just constantly feel like I have to do more. I constantly feel like I have to get more followers, do more video, get fancier video cameras and all the things. And I said, whoa, 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 let's stop that, right? And let's change the entire tone of the conversation and say, if all you do is consume less and connect more, you will convert more. That's it. It is that simple. It truly is. Because I think we end up on Instagram and we're just like aimlessly scrolling and we're sort of like, now what? And that's the hard part, is we're kind of like, well, why are we spending all this time on here? It's not fruitful. We're not getting anything out of it. But what I can tell you guys is I am walking, living, breathing proof of, if you connect more on Instagram, like if I hadn't connected with Ricardo because of my relationship with Grant, which, mind you, my relationship with Grant came from 2 or 3 other relationships before that. So if I wasn't focused on connection, I literally wouldn't be here today, right? I would not be running a 7-figure company. I would not have agents and students in 47 states. Like, that just wouldn't happen, right? So I've never been focused on how many followers I have, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I'm not talking to the ones that I already do have, right? So that's what we're really focused on. And before we start, I want to make sure we're all connected. DM me the word 1990 if you are here with me right now. You can scan that QR code. It'll take you directly to my Instagram, and then you can DM me that. And just say hi. Let me know that you're here. Say 1990 is the year I was born, for everybody wondering why I chose that number. But June 19th, 1990. That is where I want to make sure we can connect, because offline, anybody who has questions, please let us know. And then we're also doing some really cool stuff with all of our Follow Up Boss people, kind of a special thing for Ricardo and for all of you guys who are part of FUB. So please make sure you reach out, DM me the word 1990, but let's go ahead and just jump right in. So Ricardo asked a little bit of details about me. I'll let you guys kind of read this if you choose to, but that is me with my little guy. I am a mama. I have a 2.5-year-old. He is the whole world to me. For all of my parents in the room, you guys know how it can be, right? When you're trying to run multiple companies and trying to do all the things while also trying to be a good mom. And so for me, that's actually why I built my company the way that I built it. And the way that I have taught and designed this for you guys is so that you can be more present without having to spend more and more and more time on Instagram, right? Consume less, connect more. So get our time back, be the parents we want to be, not miss things, and also sell more real estate, right? Who doesn't want to do that? So that's really the beauty of it. I am a really, really high DI. So I've taken this test like 57 times and it keeps coming back that. So I talk really fast and I totally understand that. So my COO is actually in the chat box. So if you guys have any questions as we're going through this, please comment in there. Let us know that you're watching, where you're at. If you need to slow me down, please feel free to do that. Ricardo, same for you. Yell at me, throw something at the screen, whatever needs to happen. But
Nonsense.
I do talk very fast, so that's where it comes from. And then some fun personal side of me. I actually just ran my first half marathon on Saturday, first time ever in my life. I didn't die and I didn't stop running, so both were wins. That was really, really cool. It was an incredible experience. I actually just posted on Instagram the video of Knox running towards me at the finish line. And it was really cool because my husband is actually a marathon runner and an ultra marathon runner, and Knox and I are usually on the sidelines watching Daddy. So this was the first time where Knox and Daddy were watching Mama, and it was really fun. So it was an amazing opportunity for me to just do something physical that I've never done. And it just goes to say, like, you're really never too old to be who you want to be and to be the athlete or to be physical and move your body, right?
Never. Nonsense. Hopefully first of many.
I'm excited to say that I've already registered for my second one. So that means I might have caught the running bug. We'll see. I am also a competitive CrossFitter, so I do CrossFit a lot. I'll say that. But it is more of a hobby these days. And then as far as podcasting, I love going on podcasts. So if you guys just Google Michelle Berman Michael, you'll get all of the hundreds of podcasts I've been on. And also go on YouTube. You can type it in there and get lots of free value from me. I think I've been on over 100 even just in the last year and a half. So there's a crap ton of free value out there if you guys want to go enjoy that. Now, specifically today, what I want to talk about is how you can connect on Instagram. So I mentioned this at the very beginning. I said most will consume, but how do we turn our consumption into actual community building? And I love Stacy Soleil, and you guys all know who she is, but she's a community builder to her core. She just thrives in that environment of being able to build a network. And that's what this is. So if you look at Instagram prospecting or the outbound effort that it will take to develop these types of relationships on Instagram as a community building resource, you will never look at it as oh, I can't believe I have to go do 45 comments and 20 story replies. Like Michelle is high if she thinks I'm going to do that, right? If you look at it differently and you change the lens of how you perceive something, right, it will make a big difference. So this picture is actually me on Saturday with Knox at the start line right before I started. And this was something that I posted on Instagram, and I posted it for a reason, right? Because I am a business coach. I run a very large Instagram marketing company. I serve real estate agents and mortgage professionals all day, every day. I can talk about Instagram and I can talk about Instagram and how to convert and all of the things all the time, but that's not why you guys are going to hire me, right? In theory, that is ultimately what will make you choose me over someone else. But why are you going to ultimately even start a conversation with me in the first place? Because you might like me, you might feel connected to me, you might feel connected to the energy that I give. I get a lot of messages from people saying like, I've never met anybody so passionate about something as simple as the Instagram app. And the reality is that aside from that, I'm a human, right? I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm all these things. And so we have to be better at relating to people. And we also have to understand that relating to people doesn't mean sharing things that we're uncomfortable with sharing, right? If you're not comfortable with sharing pictures of your children, then don't. There's nobody telling you that that's a requirement, but you do have to be willing to get somewhat vulnerable in the sense of, at the end of the day, if I can't relate to you, you may be the best possible coach on the planet for me, but I will not, or in this case for you guys may be the best possible real estate agent that I could ever hire, but I won't if I don't feel like I even know who you are and don't feel like I can connect to you, right? So that's the issue when it comes to when I look at Instagram accounts and I see business all the time. It's really hard for me to connect to you. And so this picture, right? How many of you guys can relate to running a race, right? How many people have run 5Ks or 10Ks or half marathons or all the things, right? So Ricardo, when you see a picture like this on someone's Instagram, you want to comment, don't you?
I get a smile on my face and I reply to people because it's
That
relatable.
and it really makes you think like, oh, well, Michelle does that too. Wait, what does Michelle do? Like you're more likely to care about the back end of what I do for a living if you feel like you are connected to me and have this
100%. Absolutely, 100%.
And that's what we're talking about here. So when you are looking at your Instagram content, for sake of this webinar, I'm not going to be talking about what to post because I think that's a whole nother conversation. What I'm going to tell you guys is you have to be willing to share content. And I'll say this a couple different times just to make sure it lands, but you have to be willing to share content that gives people the opportunity to connect to you, right? And to actually feel like they can relate to what you're going through in life. That's so important. Because if I just posted nothing but video of how good I am at helping you build a brand on Instagram and being able to digitally prospect through the Instagram platform, you would not hire me. I may get business off of it, right? Eventually, but it's going to be way slower than if I'm willing to be vulnerable and share my personal side. And then I get on the phone with someone and then I can riff about what I do, right? Just like you guys, if I'm going to hire you as a real estate agent, I feel connected to you in the DMs. We're chatting about your half marathon. And then I'm like, you know what? Ricardo, my husband and I are getting ready to potentially move and we might want to have a conversation with you. Are you available to do that? But I'm more likely to do that because you and I just had a really great conversation about our running or about our kids and being at the finish line or whatever it was that initiated that spark between the two of us. So how can you connect on Instagram? There's 4 things. I know Ricardo said 3, but really there's 4. So I decided to add it. Sorry, Ricardo. But first and foremost is we can build familiarity. That's a hard word to say, but through our ability to interact on personal levels or with personal content, we can make a cold call completely go away. It will never feel like a cold call. And I will use Ricardo, you and I as a perfect example. The very first call we got on, you had never met me. I had never met you. You had no idea who I was from Adam, other than we had a conversation in our DMs. We kind of riffed and made fun of each other a little bit based off of our relationship with Grant, right? And then we get on a Zoom and it's like, I've known you forever. Why is that the case? because I spent time talking to you and warming our relationship up before I was like, hey, let's get on Zoom, right? And that's where the personal interaction can be so valuable, and it's not to be wasted, right? And I think that that's a big thing that people miss, is don't initiate contact on a business thing. And also right now, I just got one of these right before I got on this webinar, but I messaged somebody and she immediately had an auto message reply back to me. Hey, thanks so much for reaching out to me. I'll get back to you soon. Are you looking to buy or sell a house? ? My message to her was about a podcast that I had actually invited her to be on my podcast, right? So how crappy for me on the receiving end of her auto message, right? And that it's not good, right? So if you have an auto message turned on like that, please turn it off. I'm begging you to turn it off, because it is a huge turn off to the people who are actively taking the time to reach out to you and to consume your content and to create those personal interactions with you. Now, there is a place for automation in your DMs, but that's a whole nother conversation as well. So number one is building familiarity. Number two is stop just hearting things. How many people here, and I'm going to open up the chat box for the first time, but how many people in here have ever been guilty of just double tapping something in a story, like a story, and then they're just hearting it or thumbs upping it? How many people? Michelle just raised her hand. Jake says me. There's so many people out. So many. Tiff says guilty too. Everybody's raising their hand. This is funny. And make sure in the chat, guys, you respond to everyone, not just to me, so that everybody can see you. Instead of just replying to hosts and panelists, make sure you switch it to everyone. But yeah, so we're all guilty of it, right? But please stop doing that, right? Take the time to actually leave, even if it's even if it's 2 or 3 words. It doesn't need to be 2 or 3 sentences, but it's just going to land a lot differently. It's going to be way more valuable to the person on the receiving end, and they are more likely to respond, right? Your job on Instagram is to create connections that give you the opportunity to create conversion. Conversion does not happen unless there is a conversation, right? So that is where that has to happen. So the way that I teach this very strategically is a 3-part initial message, and we can talk about that in probably our next webinar if Ricardo doesn't hate me by then. Haha. But when we do another one, we'll be able to build that out and actually talk about the message structure, because it's so important. But take the time, guys. 2 to 3 words, maybe 5. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't take a lot of time, but you will notice that you will get way more responses. You'll have way more intentional, detailed, good conversations, and you'll have more opportunity to create conversion if you do so. And then the third thing is your comments are weak. And I say this lovingly, right? But when I post content and I get engagement from people that are like, awesome video, exclamation point. This is great, exclamation point. Thanks for sharing, exclamation point, right? That is so weak. It's not quality engagement. Now, here's what I tell everybody is when you leave a comment, your goal is to make your comment so intentional and authentic. That doesn't mean long, right? I want to make it very clear. It does not mean it has to be long. It does mean that it has to be intentional and that it has to be authentic, right? Which means you have to read the caption. If there's multiple pieces of content that are posted, like it's a carousel, swipe through. If it's something that somebody's being really personal and the caption is really a personal thing, like take the time to read that and then leave a comment, because your goal with every comment that you give is to make it so that the person who you're leaving the comment on, like their content. So if I'm leaving a comment on something that Ricardo posts, my goal is that it is such quality that Ricardo would feel guilty not responding, right? Of like, oh man, I have to respond to that. Like, that's awesome that Michelle just said that, because it will stand out. And it doesn't take more time. It just takes more intentional time, not more total time, right? So that's the only difference. So leaving comments that are more intentional. And then the last piece is building through connection points. So, oh, I forgot to change that last square. Sorry, guys, ignore the words there. But the building through connection points is the important part, right? And that's why I post content like this picture that you guys see on the screen, because it is relatable to other people. So I now can go build my community on Instagram around other realtors who love to run, because I've now posted a picture of me running, right? So if I'm starting a conversation with Ricardo in the DMs about running a half marathon, And let's pretend that I'm a realtor trying to earn Ricardo's business as a buyer or seller, right? If I see that he posts on Instagram a picture of him running and I slide into his DMs talking about running, and if Ricardo's like he's into the conversation, we're going back and forth, he then clicks on my profile and goes and sees this picture of me running as well. That is connection solidified, right? It is now like sealed. Whereas if he were to go to my Instagram after we had this really intentional conversation about running in the DMs and see nothing but listing, or real estate, that relationship or that connection just died, right? At least it got way, way harder to get it actually to the finish line. If you guys have ever seen, well, let me ask this in the chat box. How many of you guys have seen Avatar, right? The movie. I know they just came out with the second one too, but how many of you guys have seen Avatar and you know that like the Avatar people, they have like the tail thing where they take it and they have to like connect it to their dragons and then they're like bonded, right? That's what we're talking about here. We don't want the opportunity for that bond to not happen. Everybody's saying yes because it's an amazing movie. The second one was really good too. The first one was better, second one was still really good. And I saw the first one in the movies in 3D like 4 times because it was so good. But you guys get my point, right? We have to be able to be that avatar and connect to our dragon, and make it so we are just with them, right? And there's no opportunity for that relationship to be diminished in any capacity. So that's the power there. So if you're going to be talking about certain things in your DMs, you want to make sure that your content attributes to that. And we'll talk a lot about all of that. So you guys have one job on Instagram every single day, and that's it. One job, and that is it. And it is to find a new relationship every single day. So if you wake up every morning and say, my job today is to go find one new relationship that I can build, at the end of 365 days, your business will look so, so different, right? And that that new relationship could be a small business in your area. That relationship could be a charity organization that maybe has a run coming up that you can sponsor. That might be a direct to consumer. That might be a small business that the mom is the owner and you go to school or your kids go to the same school. So you want to make sure that you're connected to her and her business on Instagram, right? There's so many opportunities here. And I want to give you guys a hint on how how you can do this the fastest. If you look at anybody's Instagram account, and I encourage all of you guys who are here with me, and I know I can't see you because we're doing the presenter view, but if you guys open up your phone and go to anybody's Instagram account, like click on somebody that you know you regularly look at. We'll just say that. So all of you guys open up your Instagram, open up an Instagram account of somebody that you regularly look at, and then underneath their profile, so you'll see their bio, then you'll see following, if you are following them, which I assume you are if you're opening this one. Then you'll see message in the center, and then you're going to see this little button with a person and a plus sign. I want you guys to go ahead and click that little button and see what happens. And Ricardo, if you're with me, I want to know if you're doing it too. Have you ever clicked that button?
100%.
Right. So what does that button do for you?
Usually gives me like a drop down to show other accounts, like similar accounts to follow.
Absolutely. 100% correct. Right. So how can we very easily build a new relationship every single day with that button? Right. So if I go to Ricardo's account and say, well, Ricardo runs events at Follow Up Boston. One of my specialties is speaking on webinars. Well, guess what? Ricardo's probably connected to 17 other people that might have opportunities for me to do a webinar. Right. So I know I can go prospect in that category, right. And then leverage my connection to Ricardo or to Grant, or I may see somebody that Instagram recommends to me and realize that I'm already connected to them by 5 other people. Right? Which, if you guys have ever heard of the 6 degrees of separation, it's a very powerful concept in the world of psychology, right? In the sense that all human beings on this earth are connected within 6 degrees of separation, meaning from me to Ricardo, there's no more than 5 individuals that would get me to him. Now, I also believe, and this is, Ricardo, I want your opinion, because I actually think it's even less than that now, personally. Like, based off of social media, do you not, like, especially with where our world is, I really believe it's less than 6 now. Honestly. And I think that in general, I was hoping Ricardo would respond to me, guys. That's why I got quiet for a second. But that's what I'm saying, right? It's like social media has given us the opportunity to shorten that gap and be able to find those connections faster. And we can leverage our connection in the new message we send to somebody. So if I see that Ricardo is connected to somebody else and I want to be on that person's podcast, or I want to do a webinar with that person, or hell, I want to help them buy or sell a house, I can say, hey, I'm actually friends with Ricardo, and I just realized that you and I are both connected. How do you know Ricardo, or how long have you known him? Hello, open the door for a really authentic conversation that does not feel salesy at all, right? And that's the point. So this button right here on your Instagram, when you are looking at Instagram accounts, is your superpower for sure. And you have to leverage it without question. Now, the other big thing I want to talk about, and if you guys were on, I don't remember in the chat because I had it closed for sake of just being focused, but are there any people on here that were on with me in December? Will you guys comment in the chat box again one more time? I'm going to take a sip of coffee while you guys do that. Did anybody see me in December with Ricardo on the virtual summit? Michelle saying no. Might be no. We might have a fresh audience here. Oh, Jake says yes, but Jake, you don't count. So everybody's saying no. Well, that's actually kind of awesome. So we're going to go ahead and hit this fresh. But this is my sort of secret sauce, if you guys, if you will, right? This is what Michelle is known for. And I'm talking about myself in the third person, but this is my secret weapon, and it is our engagement tracker. Now, every single one of you guys who are here, if you want this engagement tracker, you will be able to get it. Hold your horses, though. I will tell you what you have to do in order to get it. So just hang on. But you guys will have access to this. So what I want to do is I really want to workshop this. And I can't use Ricardo because Ricardo is a little bit different than all the rest of you guys in this room. Because he's more like me, right? So our goal is visibility and brand exposure. Whereas you guys as agents, your job is to connect with other individuals, buyers or sellers, small businesses, opportunities that could platform you in your local community. So I really want to workshop this in the sense of I want to actually use somebody and actually bring them up. So Ricardo, are you okay if we pick one person and actually bring them up as a panelist?
Go for it.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead. Before I pick somebody, hold on. Let's see if I can, Tiff, if you're listening to this, which I know you are, but Tiff, will you come up with like a trivia question in the chat box? And the first person to get it right will be the person that we pick. And while Tiff is dropping that, I'm going to go ahead and start the explanation for how this tracker works. So again, Tiff is going to drop a sort of fun trivia question. You guys can hopefully answer it right in the chat. Whoever gets it right first will get to be the one that I bring up here and do it. So Tiff, put a question in there fast. Now, let's get into the tracker. So the way that this tracker works is this is your daily prospecting schedule. So what that means is that each day of the week, you will have a specific category that you are focused on so that you wake up, you open Instagram, and you know exactly where you are spending time that day. So instead of just aimlessly consuming, oh my gosh, that's an easy question. Good job, Tiff. Oh, Shenanda got it right. Wow, that was a good one.
Not even a minute.
Like, that was like a boom.
Not even 10 seconds. What the heck?
I love it. Wow, that was so fast. Amazing. So Shenanda, when it's time, I will pull you up and we'll do this together. This will be fun. But this tracker, guys, every single day of the week is a specific category on purpose, right? So we are focused on where are we engaging each day so that we can grow our community on the Instagram platform, right? And that's what we want to be doing. So Monday specifically, I'm just going to break down the days so you guys understand what the days are first, and then we'll bring Shenanda up and actually get some of her ideas, and we'll go from there. So Mondays is what we call following day. So following day is, long story short, is you are interacting with the people who are following you, not the other way around. So if you open up Instagram, you naturally will start to see the same people over and over again every day, right? Because Instagram is going to keep showing you the people that you're more likely to interact with consistently or that you have interacted with regularly. So what we want to do on Mondays is we actually want to invert that, right? So instead of engaging with the people who you regularly consume and you are regularly engaging with anyway, we want to engage with the people who are following you, right? So at the top of your Instagram, you'll have two numbers. You'll have a number of followers, and then you'll have a number of people you are following, right? So the number of people you are following, we're ignoring that. We're focusing on the number of people who are following you. So we'll use me as an example, right? I have 10.7 thousand followers. How many of those people do I know one-to-one? Not a lot of them, right? I know a lot, but not all of them for sure. So on Mondays, my focus is loving on the people who have taken time out of their day to follow me. So I will go through my list of people who are following me, and I will actually consume their content, engage with them. I'll leave a comment on their most recent piece of content. I'll reply to a story. And my goal here in doing following day, my goal ultimately is retention, right? If I have 10.7 thousand followers, I want to make sure that that 10.7 stays for as long as possible to give me the longest opportunity to not just convert them, but ultimately stay in front of them, right? Because if someone doesn't follow you anymore, they're not going to see your content. So you have to make them sticky. And if someone is taking the time to actually consume your content, you need to make sure that one, you have content of value to make them want to stay. And two, you're loving on them. So we had a client not long ago, just less than a month ago, actually. And she called us and she said, Michelle, I have 2,000 followers. I really want to get more followers so that I can go from 50 deals to 100 in 2024. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How many followers do you have? She's like, I have 2,000. And I was like, you don't think that within the 2,000 followers you already have, there's 50 more deals? And she's like, I've never really thought about that. And I was like, well, how many of the 2,000 people do you know? She's like, maybe a fourth of them. And I was like, so you're telling me that you want more followers in order to get more deals this year instead of loving on the existing following of people who have already chosen to consume your content. And all of a sudden her brain was just like, she was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense, right? So our job on Mondays is to love on the people who are already following us. Now, if you have a really small following, that doesn't matter either, right? 500 people, that's plenty to be able to do more deals. How many people here have done 500 deals in a year? None of us, right? So you don't need more followers. You just need to love on the existing ones. Now, Mondays is also where we leverage that little button, right? This little button that I was talking about. So our job, right, is to connect with other people that we might know based off the connections that we already have. So on Mondays, we can add that to that. So instead of only loving on, like if we have a smaller number, right, let's say it's only like 300, right, then we can leverage that little button to help grow our audience or our community in a very specific way without worrying about more, right? So we're focusing on a specific relationship that already exists. So that's Mondays. Hopefully that makes sense. Wednesdays, I'm going to skip Tuesdays and Thursdays because we're going to bring Shananda up and we're going to use her for this example. But Wednesdays is what we call day-to-day. So if you guys are paying for RedX, YLOPO, it doesn't matter, anything. Realtor.com, Zillow, it doesn't matter. Whatever the lead source is that you might be paying for, we will help you guys leverage that data, right? So on this day, for example, Follow Up Boss is a great example. If you guys have 1,000 names in your database, you need to make sure that you have all 1,000 of those people connected to you on Instagram and Facebook, right? Follow Up Boss does have the little Facebook button where it should give you or link to a Facebook profile. Now, the one thing I can tell you from my experience with Follow Up Boss users is that sometimes it's not right, and that's okay. We just have to do the research to find the right one. Totally normal. It happens, right? Hello, technology. It's not perfect. So the thing with that is find their Facebook account, find their Instagram account, and list it out. So you guys will notice on this tracker, it's broken between accounts for Facebook and accounts for Instagram. So you will literally upload your database, your CSV file into this document. And then hello VA, right? Anybody have VAs that they use? This is a great thing to give to them. Delegate, right? Have that VA go find every single person on Instagram and Facebook. Tell them to find them on Facebook first, just because it's easier for sure. And then find them on Instagram. And then what you guys will do on Wednesdays is you will engage with them. So every Wednesday, you will come back to that list. You will take a chunk of them and you will go and you will engage with their Facebook or you'll engage with their Instagram. If they don't have Instagram, obviously do it on Facebook. And every week you'll get through that list, right? You'll keep working through that list. Now there's another piece to this with an email and all of that, but which we won't get into just for sake of time. And then the other piece is your cold calling data, right? So your paid data. So if you're paying for information like RedX or you're getting Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads, you guys need to change how you talk to them, right? So when your phone is ringing and it says, hey, this, like, you can tell this is a Zillow call, like a lead from Zillow, you can answer it and you can have your normal conversation. And then by the end of the conversation, what you need to do is you need to say, before I hang up with Ricardo, my lead that just called, I'm going to make sure I say, hey, Ricardo, before we hang up real quick, I just want to make sure that we're connected on Instagram. And the reason for that is that's my primary platform for communication aside from texting. So I just want to make sure that we're connected there. And I know we're going to see each other on Saturday for our next appointment, but if you have any questions between now and then, please go ahead and shoot me a DM. But what's your Instagram account? And now you're connected to them before you hang up the phone, right? It's not awkward. It's not weird. It's not like, ew, why is this person asking me for my Instagram account? You're literally prefacing that this is a form of communication for you and them, right? And it will make a huge difference in your ability to stay connected to those leads that come in and then allow you to convert better. And there's a whole presentation on just that. And then now we're going to talk about Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Shananda, if you're ready, camera ready or not, here we go. Ricardo or Jake, can you add Shananda as a panelist? I don't know if I know how to do that. There we go. Here she comes. I love it. This is the first time I'm ever doing like a live hot seat like this. This is fun. Shananda, come join us on camera and unmute yourself. I think she's hopefully coming. Shananda, can you hear us? Oh. Shananda, can you hear us? Oh, we can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can anybody hear her or is it just me? No. Dang it. Okay. Shananda, hopefully we can get this figured out, but we only have a few minutes left, so I want to make sure we have some time here. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, for those of you guys who are looking at this, Tuesdays and Thursdays, the goal with that day, or those 2 days, is when you're not at home and when you're not at work, where do you go and what hobbies do you have that you could be interacting with people where real estate will naturally come up? Yes, Shananda, we can see you. We just can't hear you. I'll go back to that question just for clarity again. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are when you're not at home and when you're not at work. What hobbies do you have? What things of interest do you have where your conversations around real estate could eventually come up just solely because it's places of interest or places of connection for you? Ricardo, do you want to take a stab at that and pretend like you're a real estate agent trying to do this?
Repeat it. Places of what?
So when you're not at home and when you're not at work, where would you go or what hobbies do you have outside of that?
I'm at the gym. I'm now at the gym religiously every day after work.
I love it. Okay, so the gym is a place for you. It's a place of connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
So meaning you're on the treadmill or you're on the bike or you're lifting weights or you're taking a class or like whatever it is. So you're around other people that have this shared or mutual interest. So Tuesdays, for example, we would assign that as gym day for you. So what you would do is you would literally find all the hashtags related to the gyms in your area, right? So guys, this is hyper local. I'm not talking about nationwide, right? So Ricardo, we're pretending that you sell real estate in a very hyper local area because most real estate agents do. And your goal would be to find all the hashtags related to the gyms around you, not just your gym, but all the gyms that you can find information, or I'm sorry, find content on, right? Geotags is an even better one. It's a kind of a gold mine on the Instagram platform. So geotags is the actual location tag itself. So of course we would pick your gym as one of them. So you would find the geotag on Instagram and you would actually drop the entire link into this tab on your tracker so that every Tuesday when you knew it was gym day, so your focus was engaging on gyms, you could literally just hover over that and click it and it would auto populate the actual geotag for your gym on the Instagram platform. Now, why would that matter? Because everybody, like, let's pretend what's the name of your gym, Ricardo? Just tell us real quick.
LA Fitness. No, it's not LA Fit. Lifetime Fitness. Lifetime
Fitness. Okay, but Lifetime Fitness, there's probably, I would guess 10, 15, 20 other gyms around you, right? Not just Lifetime.
Oh, heck yeah. There's LA Fitness, there's Equinox, 24, all of them.
All of them, right? And not even just those. You can have burn, Orange Theory, all the
Yeah,
CrossFit,
yeah, yeah.
all of the fitness, right?
Totally.
So if you look at all the geotags related to those different types of gyms or different types of fitness facilities, and on Tuesdays every week you click on those geotags, you will see everyone who has recently tagged themselves in that location. And guess what? If you Ricardo, as a real estate agent, are consistently commenting on fitness related content, and somebody sees your comment and it's super genuine and it's authentic, right? They're going to click on your profile, go to your Instagram account and be like, who's this Ricardo guy? Like, he was just commenting on this gym. They go to your profile. Hopefully they see pictures of you working out, right? See pictures of you in your fitness journey, because that's what we talked about at the beginning of this webinar, right? You have to be willing to share that content to solidify the bond. And then Ricardo, you get to take it one step farther and interact with stories, right? So just leave a comment on someone's feed, go to their stories, interact with the stories of the individual. And now you are talking to someone about a mutual shared interest that also loops in your content, right? Now our bond is super, super tight, and we are building a community in a space of connection, right? Around conversations of things that we love. Some other examples, we have a hockey mom that we work with really closely. She's a loan officer. And she's like, I didn't even think that hockey would matter. Like, why does that matter? Does anybody want to see hockey stuff on my Instagram? Right? It's so amazing to think about, because as a hockey mom, she's constantly in hockey arenas. She's constantly at different facilities, at practices, looking up other Instagrams for different clubs, looking at different small businesses that support the hockey community, right? Actually buying the equipment, and all of the other things that might happen around the hockey community, right? Hockey is huge. She's up in Minneapolis, so it's even more so because it's freezing up there, right? But we built an entire day for her around engaging within the hockey community in her hyper local space in Minneapolis. So that's what Tuesdays and Thursdays are. And it allows you to focus on specific categories of connection for you, and then expand and build your community within those connection pieces on the Instagram platform, so that all of the conversations you're having in your DMs, all the conversations you get to have with people in general, are things that light you on fire, right? We don't want soul sucking conversations. We want conversations that bring us joy. And for me, talking about running, talking about CrossFit, talking about coffee shops, talking about whatever it is, like, that's what I love, right? So why would I be engaging in golf? Like, no offense to the golf people in the world, but I don't enjoy golf. I'm terrible at it. It's not my place. So if I were to say, well, I want to sell more golf course community properties, that would be lying for me personally, as a human trying to sell real estate, right? But if I said I want to talk about, Jeff is big mad right now. Jeff Fitzer, yeah, he is. That's okay. Jeff can be mad. Love him anyway. But and he knows that I don't like golf, so it's actually kind of funny. But if we focus on building our communities in the spaces that we are already actively in, instead of worrying about, well, I need to grow, just lean into what you already do. So I could go on and on and on about this, but for sake of time, I'm going to force myself to stop. And we'll just have to come back and do another one. But now this tracker, if you guys want help building it, we are going to do this for the first 20 people. So I know that there's not that many people here with us live, but this recording is going out. So anybody who watches this on the recording, if you are hearing this and you want to be able to be one of the 20, feel free to reach out as well. If the spots are not all gone, you can have one. But DM me the word grow on Instagram right now if you guys want to be one of the 20 that I actually build this tracker out for. So we will jump on a call, we will build this entire thing out, and then you will have access to be able to go off and run with it. As far as what to say and all of that, we can talk about that as well. But DM me the word grow on Instagram and we will chat through all of that. I know I saw a bunch of you guys connect with me, so that would be amazing. Nancy, you're going to have to DM me on Instagram the word grow, and then we'll talk about how you can be one of the 20, but I'm excited that you're excited. Awesome. Ricardo, I'm going to hand it back to you. I forced myself to stop. 12:15 on the dot.
That's actually really impressive.
Crushed it.
Awesome. Questions, anyone?
Yeah. Any questions from anybody? Lay them on us.
I will say that I've gotten in the habit of responding more to people's like reels and stories, and the amount of conversations that I'm having as a result, just different things, going down random tangents and whatnot, makes a big difference.
For sure. And just being able to do that intentionally, right? And say, like, if I'm a real estate agent trying to grow in a specific area of my state or of my community, right?
Yep.
How can I do that? How can I build that community in a small, what feels like a small space, right? And that's what this really is all about. And I love Follow Up Boss's value system and mission statement with like being able to build a really big community and a really strong community, because that's literally what this is, right? And
Yep.
that's what we want to be able to do. So I focus on one relationship every single day, and that's it, right? Like my job is to build that one relationship that's going to help me build the next one and the next one. So I'm just building the community of people that not just like and know me, but trust me to support them. And that's what you guys need to do, right? Real estate is all about building trust, so that somebody will want to hire you.
I've had the privilege of being fortunate enough to travel and enjoy traveling for work. So going to a lot of different places. When I see that somebody in my network is venturing somewhere new, I'll always stop to recommend some amazing places to visit, whether it's for, dinner, drinks. Speakeasies are my jam. But if you think about what we do as agents at a hyper local level, all of that stuff still applies.
Absolutely.
Are you being a connector? Are you being a
Totally.
connector and are you being helpful?
Yep. So I'll end it. I'll end our webinar the same way I started it, by saying consume less, connect more. And what your business will look like in the next 365 days is wild. I can say 100% I am living, breathing proof of one connection a day will dramatically change your company, your career, your income level, all of the things, right? If you just focus on that. So I'm super stoked, Ricardo. Thanks, of course, for having me. I really appreciate you. I appreciate Lab Coat Agents as well. I do a lot with them, so it's cool to see you both come together. Perfect smorgasbord of awesome, in my opinion. So again, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Catch you in the next one.
Thanks, you. Or thanks, guys. Wow, I can't talk.